Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. It's been a few weeks now since I uploaded the last video of questions and answer on the AeroGarden unit, and I actually got a lot of positive feedback and a lot of questions. There are questions in the comments, and also I have private questions on my Instagram and also Facebook. So I copied them out and I'm going to try to answer a few of them today because I don't want to make the video too long. So I'm gonna try to list them all out at the bottom in the description because somebody suggested in the last video that I should list the timeline below in the beginning and not tell you in the end so you guys would know. So today we are going to answer many questions that people were interested in since the last video. So first I'm going to show you the plants. So as you can see, this large plant is much bigger than the last time, and there are lots and lots of flowers everywhere. Let me see if I can zoom in and show you. You see that? All those flowers there. And it grows basically every few days, so I need to continue to raise the light as it grows. So I usually keep the light very low on top of the plant because I like it to grow nice and short. And as I mentioned, between each node there's not a big gap, so that's how you can tell that the plant is getting enough light. So at the bottom, these are usually where the flowers form first, and as you can see, some of them are already opened. So those will become fruits very soon. And the trunk right here. So this plant, I did not do any trimming. But if you want to, you can actually trim. But when you trim, you should trim very early at the stage when the plant is around right here, before it starts to create that Y right there. So when the plants are younger, it will begin to shoot out that Y. And immediately after the Y, you will see buds forming. And that is the best time to top your plant. Because if you wait until it grows like this and you top it, you basically set the plant back. And because the flowers at the bottom are already formed, it's not going to grow as fast as you would like because it's now focusing on two things. Forming flowers as well as trying to regrow. So if you're going to top the plant, top them early. As I mentioned, right when it forms that Y. So cut it right there at the tip, and because it's in hydroponic, the plants will get all the nutrients it needs and it will grow very, very fast. So if you choose to top your plants outside, make sure to think about how long your season will be because it will set the plant back and it will have to try to make it back into its full potential and then fruit again. And so if your season is short and you don't have around 3 to 4 months like that, then you may not get fruit before frost come and just killed your plant. So make sure to keep that in mind. So if you want to top the plant in your HydroGarden unit, make sure to do it early when it starts to form the Y, or as soon as you see buds, do that. Okay? So let's go and show you the other small plants. There they are doing great, and as you can see, many of them are already forming fruits that turned red. So let me show you closer. See, this one here has one red fruit, but if I pick that one off, the next one will ripen up pretty fast. And then this little one here has a bunch of red fruits there, so that's pretty good. Okay, so let's go ahead and answer some of the questions that you guys have. So here is the first question. Do you think I can start cantaloupe seeds in Rockwool the same as peppers? Yes, you can. The problem is cantaloupe seeds are a lot larger than pepper seeds, so you kind of like have to push it into the Rockwool. But cantaloupe seeds are so easy to start, and you don't want to waste the Rockwool. Because Rockwool are usually used for hydroponic, and if you can't grow cantaloupe in the AeroGarden unit, so try not to start them in Rockwool seeds. Cubes. Just put them on a paper towel, and then they will grow in 3 days or 4 days. They start very, very fast. But if you want to, you can just create a nice hole large enough for the seeds. Just drop it in there, and it will grow. So yes, you can. Right here, another question is, do you top your tanks off with fresh water between adding nutrients? The way I do it in this unit here is I have already made nutrients right here, like at a gallon at a time. And when the unit is low, I just add the nutrients that I pre-mixed. And then once I add it about 3 or 4 times, then I'll clean out the unit and then add fresh nutrients again. When you clean it out, that is when you put fresh water in, wash out every residue and stuff like that, and then add fresh nutrients again. So in between feeding, I don't add fresh water. I just add whatever I mixed, and I just give the plants more. But that is a great question, because it is a good idea to always give the plant fresh nutrients, because usually once you feed the plants nutrients and the container is full, and then the plant would drink it up, but when it drinks the nutrients, it only absorb or take up whatever the plants need, and then the excess nutrients that the plants don't like or don't need, it'll leave behind. So if you keep adding nutrients like I do, you may put the nutrients out of balance. So it's a good idea to maybe do it like 2 times. Just do a refill 2 times and then clean it out. Make sure the roots are nice and fresh, and then give it fresh nutrients and make sure it's balanced. The pH is on point, because that leads up to the next question. Why is it that you want the pH to be around 6.0? And the reason for that is there is a pH chart, and the chart will give you the sort of like the sweet spot where all of the nutrients can be taken up by the plants easily at a certain pH. I'll try to put a link to that chart in the description so you can see. So if you let the nutrients fall too low, then the plants will have trouble absorbing a certain type of nutrients to keep itself healthy. And if you let it go too high, and same things happen. And also the nutrients can sort of like evaporate at a certain pH as well. So make sure it's always at the optimal stage between 5.9 to 6.3, around there. Around that sweet spot is the best. Okay, so the next question is, if your pepper start really taking off and growing really tall, can you top? So this goes back to the topping question to keep the size manageable. So again, yes, you can top the plant at any stage, but once it's forming flowers like this here, if you want to, you can top the excess that you don't want. So like you want to keep everything inside the unit so that it can get all the lights to keep itself nice and healthy. Those branches that are kind of like sticking outside of the unit, you can actually cut those off. So yes, you can cut your plant, trim your plant at any stage, because as I mentioned, in hydroponic, the plants always have nutrients available, so it will recover very, very fast. But also, you know, when the plant is starting to flower and bloom, and then when the flowers open, it's sort of like go through this phase. It's very funny, and if you cut it, you can almost like shock the plant a little bit. So your flowers may drop. So you try to not shock your plant too much by cutting off too much. Trim like just a little. Don't trim too much. Because as anything, you know, you do something drastically, it's gonna shock the thing, because it's a living organism. And here's another one. Someone said that you said that the plant are miniature, and that's the way you cross them to make sure you grow them faster. So basically they're saying I miniaturize my plant because I grow them in small unit, and because it's so small, and when it produces seeds and stuff like that, will the new plants from those seeds be miniature as well? The answer for that is no. The reason why they're small is because the containers are small, and I also trim to keep them small. So if I take seeds from those miniature plants and grow them outside, they'll grow to the full plant. So there's no, it's not gonna make the plants miniature or like, you know, small version of itself. So it will grow into a big plant if you give it enough space. Okay, and then another question is, do you have any less expensive alternative to the AeroGarden setup. The AeroGarden, it could be very expensive, but if you are going to buy the AeroGarden, don't buy it at full price. They always have a sale, and so wait for the sale and you will get a really good deal. If you don't want to invest that much money into a unit like this, there are alternatives. You can buy a light setup for like 45, 50 bucks. And then check out Hidden Harvest Company. They have really good grower lights that I have been using for a while, and those are great light. The thing for that is you need something to hang it, so you can go to Home Depot and create like a PVC hanger to hang your light, and then you can make a DIY unit that is just as big as the AeroGarden, and you can do exact same thing. So it's very, very easy to find alternatives that are much, much cheaper than this. So all you need is a light setup, and then you can create the container really easily out of any of those durable containers, and drill a hole in it, put a net cup in there. And I have many videos already that I've made on DIY units, so check out my channel. You can find a bunch of them. I've used baby formula container. You can use something larger and that would work as well. So just follow the guide, and then buy a light unit that would work just as well, and then hang it, and you can have a DIY system for yourself. Okay, and the next question is, do you feed the seedlings nutrients? When I start the seedlings, at a certain age, you can feed them nutrients. So let's say the seedling just sprouted. You don't need to feed them anything. 2 weeks later, you can feed them like half strength nutrients. And up to when they get to like around 1.5 to 2 months, and then you can give them full strength, and then that should be good. How many plants can you place in the AeroGarden unit? That depends on the type of plants you're growing. If you grow herb like basil and cilantro and stuff like that, you can put basically like each hole here, you can put a plant, and that should be fine, because the herb, they don't grow that big like peppers. If you grow peppers, as you can see, here is the proof. You can only grow one pepper plant unless you grow those miniature size. Then you may be able to grow two. If you grow lettuce, lettuce are humongous, so they could grow. One lettuce can take up the whole unit, depending on what lettuce you grow. But I would say if you grow lettuce, maybe 2 or 3 at the most. That's it. Pepper plant, super hot's 1. Miniature size, like a Thai variety like that, maybe you can keep it small and you can grow 2. Can you start seeds directly in the AeroGarden unit? Yes, you can. I think I covered this in the last video. You can put like a tray of 50 cells, and you can start seeds in there. They're actually really good, a way to start your seeds. You can start in this unit right here, and then just let it grow all the way to it becomes this size. And that's actually what I did to this plant. What are some plants you recommend for growing in the AeroGarden? I would always recommend something small. You can grow tomatoes, you can grow peppers, you can grow tons of herb. But the thing with tomatoes is depends on what variety. If you grow the determinate, where the size is not going to be crazy, outrageously big, then those can, like those tiny toms or something like that. I think that's what they're called. You can grow those in there and they work just fine. If you grow like sun sugar, I have grown sun sugar in here, and I had to do a lot of trimming to keep them small, and they will fruit, and it's a really fun project. But some plants are just too big. You cannot grow vines, because vines will crawl out, and then it would not need light, and then then it wouldn't grow as well. So all plants grown indoors would need sufficient light. If the plants like a vine would crawl out, and then that part of the vine is not getting enough light, so that it may not produce the fruits that you want. So herbs are great. You can grow lettuce, small sized tomato, like those determinate tomatoes. Of course, peppers, because that's what I usually do. I grow a ton of peppers in here. And if you want peppers, I would recommend growing a variety that would produce a ton of peppers for you, like a Thai variety, because those can remain small. They're very hardy, and they will produce a ton of peppers for you to use even just one plant. Okay, so we're getting very long into the video, so this is the last one. Can you tell the difference in taste with hydroponically grown plants and plants that grow in soil? So I've done a test before. For peppers, it's very difficult to tell. Sometimes pepper actually tastes better when they're grown in hydroponic. There is an article that I read recently that there's a certain grower that grow in hydroponic only, and they can tweak the nutrients, amount to produce better tasting fruits. So I'm not sure about any of those science stuff, but I have grown peppers both ways, same variety, and I taste them. And sometimes in the AeroGarden unit, they taste sweeter, and sometimes they're spicier too. So also, it's really hard to tell because it also depends on your soil condition. If you have good soil, then maybe the quality is better. If your soil is not as good, so it's really difficult to have a test like this. But from my personal experience, sometimes the AeroGarden unit or my hydro system produce better tasting peppers. For lettuce, the ground one is better, and I've done that as well. So check out my videos on those how I test them, and you can see sometimes grown in the unit here, there's no wind movement and stuff like that. So it kind of like it creates weaker. Like in my lettuce, the leaf seems to be a lot softer than when it was grown outside in the elements. So that is just a personal opinion. So if you guys have tried it before, I would love to know as well. But it's very, very difficult to tell, as well, especially when you grow herbs. So when I grew basil in both outside and inside in hydroponic and soil, and it's very, very difficult to tell, except the fact that the hydro unit grow enormous leaves. The leaves are like 1.5 times larger than the ones outside. So there is an advantage to hydroponic. It does grow things a lot faster. It grows the leaves larger, and maybe the taste may be a little bit different, but it's very difficult to tell. So anyway, guys, I'm going to stop the video right here because it's gotten long. But I really love these questions, so if you have more, I'm going to try to write them down and answer again. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and please leave comments and like the video, and also please subscribe and leave suggestion. Thanks for watching.